Welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. I just got back from the Daytona 500. It was my first NASCAR race, and it was so much fun. I am now spoiled because I have been to the world center of racing, and I'm never going back. So, like many people, I became very obsessed with Formula One after the Netflix series debuted, Formula One Drive to Survive. I have, as you may know from listening to this podcast, enjoyed a variety of different motorsports throughout my life. I'm the youngest of three. I've got two older brothers, so I was dragged to a lot of motorsports events, Portland International Raceway, Bigfoot truck, monster truck rallies, and funny cars, and basically anything that involved gas and grease monkeys we would go to. And of course, grew up watching the stock car races from my grandmother's dam at her lake in Indiana. And so when I started watching Formula One, I'm like, this is amazing. And then I started dating our tour manager, who is a NASCAR expert, and he was like, and he loves Formula One as well. And he loves motorsports, and he understands them very well. But he was like, if you love Formula One, wait till you get into NASCAR, because it is even more exciting than Formula One. And he says that pound for pound, NASCAR is the most intense and difficult motorsport in the world. And after seeing it live, I cannot disagree. It was amazing seeing these cars. They are right next to each other going 200 miles per hour, a 2.5 mile track. I'm sure you're familiar with the Daytona 500. This is all new to me. So forgive me if I am excited and flushed with some new facts and curiosity to match it. But yes, they're side by side. Sometimes they're just, 2 by 2, Noah's Ark, they call it, going around this 2.5 mile track, and with 250,000 race fans just screaming their heads off. And this is what I will tell you about the Daytona 500. From an outsider's perspective, number one, it was very well organized. It was very easy to get into the venue. That is not always the case. Sometimes when you go to big sporting events, it's, whether it's security or parking, difficulty in parking, they make it so incredibly easy to get you exactly where you have to be. And of course, the race was postponed. It was supposed to be on Sunday. They got rained out. You can't race in the rain at Daytona. I did learn that there are other races where you can, in fact, race in the rain, because I had heard like NASCARs don't have windshield wipers. Well, they don't in Daytona. So they were not able to race on Sunday. They put it off to Monday. There was supposed to be an Xfinity race yesterday at 11 in the morning, and they postponed that until after the Daytona 500. But it was very easy to get in, and the fans were very, very cool. Everyone was accommodating each other. And I've been, as you know, to a couple of Formula One races, one of them being in Vegas, which was it was wild. But Daytona, it's different because these are NASCAR fans. These are diehards. And you felt bad for a lot of people because a lot of people save money the entire year, and this is their family destination. Like this is their vacation. That they make a whole ordeal out of it. And for the race to be postponed, there were a lot of people who could not make it on Monday. Fortunately, we were able to. Also, fortunately, a lot of other people were able to. And I got to talk to people from all over the country. I got to talk to people from California and Maine and Texas. And there were obviously a lot of people from Florida. I talked to people from Alabama and from Georgia. Went into Bass Pro Shops looking for scrunchies. Oddly enough, Bass Pro Shops, they don't sell scrunchies, but they sell a lot of other stuff. We almost bought a bass. It was very hard for me to not walk out of there with a bright pink Bass Pro Shops trucker hat because I really wanted it, but I didn't have anywhere to put it because I was wearing an American flag bodysuit. And that was also a popular option. And if you have lost faith that there are other patriotic people in this country, which is easy to do when you're in big cities. I mean, here in New York, there was one blowhard complaining, a woman in media, that I don't like being on Long Island anymore because people have American flags and people only have American flags when they're pro-Trump. Therefore, they are literally Hitler. So you have people who are kind of anti-America, and if you live in big cities, you get bogged down. But when you go somewhere like the Daytona 500 and you're wearing an American flag bodysuit, you know what they do? They high five you. They celebrate you because they're celebrating this country. Everyone stands for and cheers for the anthem. They salute the flag. The Air Force Thunderbirds flying overhead. I got to meet some of them as well, and they were absolutely lovely. So it was such a good vibe. So if you have lost faith that there are people like you in this country, just go to a NASCAR race and you will find if they're not your people, I mean, I felt a kinship with many, many people there. There are people who love this country and they love racing and no, they're not a bunch of toothless hillbillies running around humping their cousins in overalls. These are diehard sports fans who know everything about every driver, and it is far more democratic than Formula One.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
And by that, I mean, you can't just walk up to the Formula One vehicles. You cannot just walk up to race cars, but in NASCAR, yep, they're all parked there like, oh, look, there's Denny Hamlin's car. Look, there's Bubba Wallace's car. And then the race itself was so incredibly exciting, and it goes a lot faster than you think because you think 200 laps is going to take all day. I was like, we're going to be here for 6 years, and that's fine. You know, we had plenty of snacks and maybe Bud Light seltzer or whatever the hell it's called. It was not, but whoa, hey, I was not drinking Bud Light. Jeez, what do you take me for? No, it was fine. But needless to say, I thought it was going to take a lot longer. It was much more exciting. And then, of course, in the third stage of the race, there was that big crash that took out half the field. I also learned that their medical facilities there are unreal. They have a neurosurgeon on staff. They have emergency room doctors. They have trauma nurses. They have all of that there, God forbid, should they ever need it. But they also work directly with the trauma hospitals right nearby so they know exactly if, again, God forbid, they have to evacuate somebody, they can get them to a medical facility. But if they don't have time and they have to perform life-saving measures, they can do that right then and there. And their facilities and their coordination, it was very, very seamless, but also heartening because you knew that the racers were taken care of because those crashes happen in an instant and they are right on top of each other. And once someone gets bumped or hits the wall, they are racing, as they say in the Army, nut to butt. They are right next to each other, and they can sniff each other's cologne, I'm sure, if they had to. That's how close it is. And of course, that massive crash in stage 3 took out half the field. And at the very end, it was a race to the very, very end, which is what makes it so exciting. And people are just screaming. But then William Byron, he won because he was in first place at the white flag, which is the last lap. And there was a crash. So instead of having a safety car, they just called the race, which was a little deflating for fans. They really wanted to see the whole thing play out. But those are the rules. And then Alex Bowman, the showman, my boyfriend, was very excited that he came in second. But it just goes to show you, in NASCAR, it really can be anyone's race. And that's what is so exciting about it. I know what you're asking. Did I get to see my sexy boyfriend, Michael Jordan? I did not. But if you go on my Instagram page and you look at my footwear, you will see that one of my shoes is taped up with bright orange tape. And that is because I wore my original 1995 Jordans, because if I saw my former boyfriend, Michael Jordan, I was going to have him sign my shoe. But I didn't see him. But I thought, I don't know if it was karma or witchcraft, but one of the soles of my 1995 Jordan came off. It came off. And I had to have someone, Tom Bryant from NASCAR was kind enough to step forward with tape that he procured from one of the garages, and he taped my shoe up. So when you see bright orange tape on my foot on Instagram, it is because my Michael Jordan shoe came apart. My Air Jordan, as they call it, just like Michael and I and our young one evening love also came apart when I won that dice game. I felt like I won the Daytona 500 getting to experience it as I did. It was dry. The track dryers were very incredible. I did not know what the process was. So they have two types of trucks going around the track. One is sucking up the water, and one is blowing hot air. So sucking and blowing, just like my prom night. It was incredible. If you haven't been to a NASCAR race, please go. There's also a NASCAR series on Netflix. So if you're like me and you want to get into a new motorsport, it's a wonderful way to go, and you'll be a better person for it, especially because of the fans who surround you, who love the sport, they love this country, and they also, it turns out, love to high-five anyone wearing an American flag. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app. Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.